Hey, welcome back to the 260. Today, I am sitting down with Ryan McCurdy, who is a Fort Wayne firefighter and also the lead for their tech rescue team, also known as SORT. Today, we are talking about the SORT team, how to get on, what disciplines they do from trench rescue to high and low angle rescue to grain bin. I don't know about you, but I am so excited to learn about this team and everything that is entailed with it. And if you like content like this, please like and subscribe, and let's dive in. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
As far as
How you got in your fire career a little bit, just like a little synapse of you and how did you get on the SORT team?
So for me, obviously my brother was on the department. He got on in 90. And so I got to see that firsthand. I was still in high school at that point. And so he got on and would go visit him at the fire station. And it was like, oh my gosh, these guys, this is a real job. They do this, you know? I had no volunteer experience beforehand. He did all that. I didn't. So it was on my radar as far as something that would be interesting to do because he would talk about how busy they are and all the different things that they experience. And I was like, okay, that'd be pretty cool, all that stuff going on. And so for me, as time went on, I was still looking at college. And so for me, I did try out right at the end of high school because you could still be 18. And I didn't make it because of I didn't live in the city at the time, so I got bounced. They were taking only people that lived in the city. And so I continued on the path of college. And so I went to Purdue local here, Fort Wayne.
Did you get your degree in?
I got my degree in mechanical engineering technology. I have a bachelor's degree. And so I did 4 years. And the whole time I was in, I was still trying out for the process when it opened and would still test, and then if that came through, then I was going to quit college. And so I got pretty lucky that the last time I tried on was my last year in college as well. So I managed to finish with my degree as a bachelor degree. And then 1 month later, I started the academy.
That's
so
awesome.
I had 1 month off.
And then back to studying.
Because
you didn't get, at that time, it was everyone had to be EMTs or EMRs.
EMTBs. We were the second, I think, EMTB class.
Okay.
So yes, we were the doctors and all the EMRs. They treated us like, oh, hey kid, you're the doctor, get up there. And you're like, what?
You were the new ALS that we have now.
In their minds, yes. In our minds, no. Because a lot of us had no experience, right? And so, but watching my brother on the job and visiting him made me go, wow, that looks like a great job. That you get to contribute, help others, and then a lot of the fun stuff, if you will, came out of it. And so he started one of the founders of the tech rescue team. So I'd go mountain climbing, rock climbing with him when I was in my youth. And so I always had that background of rope rescue work, if you will. When I got on, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to get on the tech rescue team because of all the disciplines that they do. And so about 2 years on is when I got in the technical rescue team, joined, and then you take the long, arduous process of getting all the state certifications. So that took several years to get all those. But it's kind of the start. I mean, it's pretty lackluster, but that's how I started.
That's how you started? And just for people out there that are listening, we are at the fire station. So if you hear some weird banging or noises, or we might have to take an intermission to take a run. But that's kind of cool. So what is your role on the test rescue team?
Okay, so for me, and again, it is a change. I know we're trying to get away from SORT. SORT stood for Special Operations Response Team back when it started, not rescue team. Mm-hmm. And so technically all three, hazmat team, water rescue team, and the tech rescue team are all under the same umbrella. And so if you notice the patches on some of the jackets the guys have, above the Fort Wayne Fire Department patch, there's a little rocker that says Special Operations.
Yeah.
And some people wear them, some people don't. But to me, anybody on the Special Operations teams can wear that. And so we're not really the Special Operations Response Team, we're the Technical Rescue Team. What I found traveling across country and talking with other groups will say, hey, they're like, you're Tech Rescue. I'm like, yeah, we are. And then someone will say SORT, and anybody outside of Fort Wayne has no idea what that means. But if you go outside of Fort Wayne and say you're a Tech Rescue Team member, they go, oh, you're Tech Rescue. And so trying to make the change of TRT, horrible, horrible acronym versus SORT. SORT's so much easier to say, and they say SORT. My brother being in charge of the team for as long as he was, I kind of figured I'd end up getting it eventually. And so as time went on, took the reins, if you will. I was shift lead and then became the team lead. Its origins for them, they had the water rescue, they had the hazmat team, and they were like, there's other disciplines that were just not being covered, right? Water rescue does specifically diving, hazmat specifically does chemicals. Who does the rest?
Yeah.
Tech rescue. They'll do the rest of the special operations, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's kind of how tech rescue evolved. Do you know like when it started?
I believe it was in the mid to late 90s. We're the youngest team. If you've ever looked on, and I don't know if you've ever paid attention to this, but there's an order of precedence on the Class A uniforms as far as the ribbons, if you will, and the recognition ribbons.
Yeah.
We're dead last because we're the youngest. So it goes by seniority.
Oh, I didn't know
And so
that.
they're in order of precedence. We're the youngest team, so we're always eating last, if you will. But a lot of people don't know about the precedence, the order of precedence.
I did not know that.
And,
so
and
I'm
if you
going to
look
start paying attention to
if you look at people's Class A uniforms, their career is right there on their chest if you look at it. You can see the awards come first, and then the teams are next, and they come in order that they were started. So we're the youngest team. About mid-90s, I believe, is when it was started, so still fairly young.
kind of covered a little bit of like ropes and stuff. You do all the rest, but like, what have you guys done? Like, what all can you do?
Our main disciplines are high angle rescue for rope. But again, rope can get tied into all the disciplines we do. So high angle rescue was the main focus at one point. Then they tied in trench rescue, so below grade. And trench is very popular, or I should say, kind of our bread and butter around Fort Wayne, because there's a lot of digging and they're doing a lot of subterranean work. And then confined space, which ties right in with trench. And so we have lots of confined spaces in facilities. They are either tanks or vats for cleaning, or below grade where there's one way in, one way out, those types of things. And so that became a discipline that they tacked on. And then after years went by, we added structural collapse, which is pretty common. I mean, if it's a house is on fire, the structure is involved. So it made sense. And then the last thing we ended up adding was tower rescue. So all the cell towers started going up, and that tied into rope. So they decided to add that. And so those are kind of the five main disciplines. Inside the confined space, one is a subcategory for us called grain bin, because of the nature of Fort Wayne and our surrounding area, that there's farms. And so we kind of adopted that as well. And we've actually been on a couple of those. So
Okay.
like again, the main incidents that we go on, or the high frequency ones for us, are the trench and then the grain bin. Those are the two most frequent runs, along with structural collapse, which we had a couple of those as well.
Yeah. How often do you guys get deployed? I know you've been deployed once this year. You've had a very successful
Our average
save.
was probably less than one a year for a long time. So we were the least dispatched, because water rescue, you know, watches somebody walk across the bridge and they think somebody's going to jump, so they always call it in. But it's picked up a little bit, but again, it's like any other run; it comes and goes.
Yeah. You think because you guys are so young?
I think the lure for the newer people is that water rescue, because of that dive side, because that equipment's down at ones. Hazmat, nobody seems to want to do hazmat right away, but a few people have showed interest there. I've actually gotten lucky the last two classes. I've had a good group of tech rescue people that have volunteered. What sucks about tech rescue the most, as the other teams, are the certs. There's at least 4 main certs we ask you to get.
Yeah. What are
so-
those?
And so again, it has to do with our trench ops tech, our confined space ops tech, rope ops tech, and then structural collapse ops. So those are like the main ones. So I said 4, but 2, 4, 6, 7 certs that we ask you to get. It's about a 3-year time frame. So we try to be reasonable about it, and we have a rotating schedule. So this year we did rope ops and tech, and this fall we're going to do confined space ops tech. And the next year we'll do 2 more, and the next year. So we try to keep it going because we know it takes time.
So they have to have those before they can even get on the team, right?
No, they can get. We waive that. We used to do that, but then it takes 3 years, and then they don't get paid. And then if people don't get paid, they don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
So when I came on, you didn't get paid until you had pretty much everything. And I went like 3.5 years without getting paid. You know, it's just the way it was. But now we ask you to, once you get 1 year on, you get paid, but you need to commit to keep doing the certifications. So if you leave, then obviously it's all prorated now, but still trying to keep the incentive, right? And we've said that before, that all 3 teams feel like we need to bump up the pay, because where's the incentive for some of these people? It's just a different age than what it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, well, if I'm doing extra, I want to be paid extra. Okay, I totally understand that. I respect it. But it's been difficult. But I think we've gotten lucky that we've got some people that the teams actually have higher numbers than we've had in a while. I know just about a year ago, there was 2 of my teams anyway, the B shift and C shift, were starting to lose members because of just, I've done it for so long, I want to leave the team and I'm going to retire. And we didn't have anybody backfilling. But now we do, and so that's good.
Yeah, and it's high risk, right? You're going.
It is a little bit higher risk. It is. I mean, our job was already high risk.
Yeah.
Low frequency, high risk. And then we're asking them to volunteer more. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, they get paid. I get that. But there's plenty of options out there where we don't get paid. They don't have to. It's truly a volunteer thing. Yeah. And so they volunteer to get on the team. They volunteer to get the extra certifications. And then, yeah, we do pay them tech pay. But
where do they get these certifications? Is it just from the state, or is there like?
And so there are state certifications. Indiana state certifications, the ones we're talking about. Other states have similar ones, but we would never send you out of state for it. So for us, the Fort Wayne Fire Department puts on their own classes. So we do all internal. We've had a few outside come in. That's to help us out at years where we're busy or we're lacking in, because that's one thing as time goes on. Older people like me that have all the certifications, plus your instructors 1 and instructor 2, all the things that are required to put the classes on, we're starting to lose some of those people. So we did bring in a class this year, or I should say an outside source this year, only because of lack of manpower to do it.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're getting more people on. So hopefully in time, we'll be able to absorb all that. But it's all done internal.
So how do you prepare your teams for like these low frequencies but like high stress calls? So like, how do you guys train? What's like your mindset going in?
So for us, it's not far off the fire runs, minus fire, right? EMS runs or the large car accidents, stuff like that. We're dealing with the trauma. So it's got a lot, it's very similar. The difference is the scenario, like the confined space. Only it's going to be you and the patient in there. That's it, right? You're not going to have all the extra hands we're used to in a car accident or something else. Same with high angle. It's going to be the same way. But as far as getting their mindset, we try to get the rescuer, if you will, that one-on-one time. And what kind of stinks for us is we don't always have a live patient for training. So that can be difficult. And so what I've been trying to do in the last few years is move that up. And that's where we have also talked to you guys. We've talked to Chief Vets Corn. And so it is a difficult challenge to try to get mindsets in for this, because it is a little bit different. To me, it is much more personal, much more one-on-one. And so, like I said, I talked to a couple of the chiefs in charge for you guys for EMS and try to get more live patients, or we bring out your fancier mannequin so we can do IV starts and things like that. And so you guys saw some low angle last year that I had coordinated with them.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do more of that with us. It's just, I know your guys' time is Saturdays. So that's not a good place to bring you guys in, right?
Yeah.
So it's difficult because that's when our day is. It is a challenge, and I've tried to change some of our training. Like there's days where we just need reps, where it's like the patient doesn't matter. We just need reps on, this is the steps. This is what we need to do. These 3 things need to be done before we even get to the patient. So we don't need patient interaction really on those days. But once the teams get those reps down, that's the next phase. And I always call that phase 2. It's harder, right? Because you're so used to doing this, and all of a sudden you got to stop doing that and focus completely on patient care. So it's almost like flipping a switch. It's not like you walk inside the house and talk to the person sitting in the chair. Like walking to the house was the easy part. For us, climbing the 200-foot tower to the patient is the hardest part. Easy part's talking to the patient.
Yeah.
Right? So it's flip-flopped.
That is interesting. What do you notice is like kind of like the misconception about like your team specifically?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to ask some of the others. Back in the day, we were always thought we were the last ones to get anything. But in the past 5 years, our equipment has completely turned around. We have new apparatus or newer. We have newer equipment. We've just replaced a bunch of equipment. So that'd be a good question to ask others. I'm not sure I don't know. I haven't heard anything bad, but again, I don't know if it's
You're
because they're
seen
not
as
telling
the
me
A
anything.
team. You're the A team.
I don't know about that. But what I do like about our members is most of our members are dual team. Very few of them are only on one team. And I don't know if that's the same across the board for the hazmaters and the divers, but
I
we have
haven't
a lot
talked to
of
them yet.
divers. Yeah, we have a lot of divers on the team, which is nice. And when we have those dual special operations people, they bring that knowledge from that team over, and vice versa. And I think it helps them prepare for that. Like you said, I hate to call it high technical knowledge, but like I said, you have to do all these technical things before you even get to the patient. Now you got to do patient care. And so you got to forget all that, do all this, get them stable, and now switch back and do all the technical stuff to get them back to where they need to be. It's a difficult task for sure. And we try to wade them into the water, if that makes sense, instead of shoving them in the deep end. I know when I came on, they just shove you in the deep end and hopefully you swam, right? And we're like, I want them to wade in.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm just going to throw you in and hope
Yeah.
that you could
And
swim.
I tell them that all the time. I go, when they start their first year, I say the expectations are extremely low. Everything we do at your first 5 trainings, I don't expect you to even remember. It's okay. Because
I like
we've
that.
seen their faces and they're like, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's all right.
Okay.
This is different than operations. We don't break everything down. You do need to learn by observation for some of it because we have a huge mix, right? You'll have a 5-year member, a 10-year member, and a 20-year member. Well, those people are starting to get bored if we keep doing the same low technical things all the time. But we have to do it to catch the younger people up.
Yeah.
And so it has to be a mix. And I'm sure you guys have it too with EMS that you have a seasoned EMS person with a brand new one. They're getting bored and they're like, come on, let's move. They know the
get going.
steps.
But they start asking the questions for the new person. It's like, no, they got to figure it out. Yeah.
And
I love that. Yeah. What has been in your career one of the highlights of working a run that you're like, man, we did really good? Just highlight the team a little bit here.
Well, that's a interesting question too, because all the ones that I'm a part of, we just brought this up the other day. There were some divers in the room, and of course, the teams like to poke fun at each other, right? We always do. But the divers have a different set of statistics that we do. Ours, as far as I know, we've only had one recovery. We ended up going to one that turned into a recovery, but that was a rescue started out and turned recovery. There was only one trench one that was recovery from the beginning. The rest have all been rescues, meaning we've had positive outcome. Most of the ones that I was a part of or anything that I've been on the fire department since, they're alive today. And so you're like, we got a good outcome.
That's awesome.
All the grain bins were survival. There was one trench fatality, one confined space fatality, but the rest, structural collapse and trenches, were all rescues. And so that's all good things, right?
Yeah.
And so for me to pick one out, to me, we don't think that way. It's kind of weird that we always expect them to survive, right? I don't ever expect the bad outcome. Maybe that's the only time you'll see me in a positive outlet, but usually I'm a pessimist, right? But usually when we come to the rescues, like, it's always a rescue. We're going to stay here until we get them out. We did.
That's awesome.
It's always great to see the teams when they do complete a rescue later, because during the rescue, you can see the faces of, I don't really know what I'm doing. But the training kicks in and the SALT members, if you will, are doing things. The younger people see it and they keep up, right? We tell them all the time, we keep up. We don't ever crawl. We either walk or run. So we'll walk slow, but not very slow. So that's what we do in training. And so when the run happens, they understand. We've had Nick Quick, a brand new member. He was the last trench rescue. And he made the comment too, like, you guys don't crawl at all. No, we don't crawl. On the runs, we all run. We don't even walk. But at training, we walk and then run. It's great to see the team after they have pull off a rescue. They're
on cloud 9 right now.
Like, wow, that all worked. It's like, yes, all the training that we did does pay off. It makes sense after it's over sometimes. But
what is it what's going through your guys' head? I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, high stress runs that I've been on, and it's kind of weird. You kind of narrow in like your focus on like getting that patient? Is it kind of like that? Like, what does it feel like when like you're in the hole with the patient?
It is. It is. And it is difficult being in the like a shift lead or a team lead role, that we need to be not in the hole, right? We have to have some overview, some overwatch, if you will. But it's the trust in the team members and the people that I've worked with for many years. I know the last one we went to, Southwest, the trench one, Andy May, it was a C shift, so I was working an extra day. But Andy May is the C shift lead, and I'm the team lead. And Andy was there first, and so it's his run. That's another misconception, that if the team lead is working, they automatically have command if there's a run. That's not entirely true. But I can't talk how the other teams are. I just know for tech rescue, that's not necessarily the case. But I showed up and know what needs to be done, and just start, hey, do this, do this, do that, do this. And Andy told me later, after it was all said and done, he was like, I am so glad you were working. He goes, because I totally forgot about everything around me. I could just focus on the whole. He goes, you had everything else. And I go, by design. Yes, that's what I wanted. Yeah. You stick your head in the hole, I'll deal with the warm zone / cold zone. And that's what I did. And so it was nice to have that. And when they were all said and done, I heard some members go, I don't even know what anybody did, because they were that focused on what needed to be done. And so absolutely. And so special operations, I think all three disciplines do that we know we have to get our head in the box. You have to, because we got to focus on the problem and how we're going to take care of that problem. We can't worry about everything. And fire's a similar way, and same with EMS runs, right? I mean, we might bring the blinders in a little bit, but when it gets even more specialized, you bring it in even more and try to filter. And when it does, it's easier to handle. It's easier to mitigate, right?
Yeah.
Less options are better, not worse.
It's interesting that you say that, because we talk about like tunnel vision a lot, but in this case, tunnel vision, quotes, air quotes, is actually quite good.
It can be. You still have to have the safety side, where we don't want you to use so tunnel vision that you don't have awareness of the safety side. But there's the trust that the leads or the people running the scenario are taking care of most of the safety stuff. They can just worry about directly the patient safety and their own safety.
It's like you have to trust your team. It's like, we had the air show and we're watching what was those jets called? Thunderbirds. Like I didn't know this, but the guys on the side, like they are watching a certain point at the leader's plane. So they're not even watching this guy. And you have to trust that your leader is not running you into the ground. And I thought that was cool. And it's kind of the same thing here. Like you're focused on your part and you're trusting your team. And that's really cool.
It does take a lot of trust. And that's where the new people don't have that yet. But I always use, so we have a new group of like 4 or 5 that are brand new that have less than 6 months on the team. We also have some that are approaching their year and some that are at 2. And I like to use those people as examples. And I'm going to pick on Alex Goldbeck just a little bit, because I always use him as an example. Alex would always tell me that he didn't feel comfortable doing anything because he's new. I said, watch Alex today. He's going to do some things. He'll say he doesn't know how to do them, and he'll just do them. Watch. And Alex will just do something. I'm like, you'll be that way in a year. You think you don't know anything until you get about a year on. You're like, and you're doing things and you're not even thinking about it. That's the whole design. 2 years, you're doing even more, and you think you don't know how to do anything, and you're doing it. So it's like, it'll come. Trust me. If you want to stick with the team, it'll build. It takes time. You got to have a good foundation to build on top of it. And what I don't like is negative reinforcement learning and destroy that base. Then they don't build on it. Nobody wants to build on something that's a bad base. But if it's a good base, you start feeling more comfortable and you start doing more things.
I want to give kudos to the team, because it sounds like when you guys bring people on, you have that expectation that they're not going to know nothing and they're going to slowly know things. But yet they also need to learn to run and walk fastly and learn this stuff quickly. But you guys all have that expectation that the newer people, they're not going to know as much, but you catch them up, and that's really cool.
Usually what I'll do too, and I noticed there are the 2 shifts. I know Andy does it on the C shift, and Amanda Dreher is our new shift leader for the B shift, and she's doing a great job, is we'll sign somebody brand new to someone seasoned and go, you're following them. They're your contact. If you have questions, do it. And the reason I try to do that is when you have several new people, and the B shift has that, and now we do too, that it's difficult for a leader to have 4 new people and answer 4 people's questions. divide and conquer. You're going to go with him, you're going with him, you're going with him. You have questions, talk to your person. Now all of a sudden, I'm only dealing with one person's questions instead of 4 people's questions, right? So they can talk to them. And I know you guys do it in EMS too. That's why we do it. You assign a mentor, you assign someone, and it's so much easier, that span of control, if you will. One thing I teach, or at least I tell in the operations when I get a new person here, and I try to be very honest and say, listen, I have not said this in the past, and I'm trying to be much more clearer. And I tell, when we're doing fire rounds, I'll tell you like 10% what I'm thinking. Ask questions. I said, I'm doing a lot of mental math. I'm doing a lot of things that are going through my mind. I'll tell you about 10% what I'm thinking. I said, if we get super busy, it'll drop to about 5%. If we're in tech rescue, it drops all the way down to 1%. Ask questions, because there's a lot more pieces that people are thinking about. And I think a lot of the leads do that as well, but we don't really say it out loud. And so I actually had a run. We had an elevator rescue. So it wasn't tech rescue, but it was an elevator rescue. And I had one of the privates, after it was all done, said, Cap, you dropped to 0.5% on that one. I go, I'm sorry. I apologize. They're like, you just opened the elevator door and you just did something and the door opened. And I go, I don't even know what you did. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. That's my fault. Yes, ask questions, please, because when we're trying to get somebody out of something, all I can think about is get them out. It's not teaching. It's like, let's get them out. So
Yeah, it's a teaching moment.
So I do. I try to remind them that, or at least say, hey, this is I'm being honest with you. I'm not trying to not speak to you, but we're thinking about things, and some people think about those things fast, and I won't break it down to you because it just takes way too long to break it all down when we can just get it done.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of tech rescue. That's what I said. Once you get on the team, we think a little bit faster. We don't crawl. We do some walking, but mainly we run.
What advice would you give someone that's interested in joining the team? We got some new recruits coming in.
That patience, that the expectation is being, at least we're trying to telegraph it now, that you're not expected to know everything your first year, or even your first 3 years for that matter. Don't take it, if you do go to we started doing the shadowing again. I don't know if you guys heard about this. If someone's interested in a team, they'll let them go to one training. They used to not let them do that. We did it a long time ago, and they stopped it because of manpower issues, and they're like, we can't just let anybody go. We're like, okay. And so we had to stop. And so they brought it back. And so now you can do a shadow day where you're not on the team. You're just going to go do a day with them. And so we remind them on take those days, go check it out. And again, no expectations. We're patient. You be patient. It'll come. If you truly want to do it, you'll pick it up. You know what I'm saying? We've heard so many people say there's so much, there's too much. It's intimidating. That truck has so much different equipment, so many different disciplines. Yeah, I know. Where water rescue, they get a free dive certificate out of it. Not free, but you know what I mean. Yeah. They send them to a class, they become a diver, and then they can go dive the Caribbean. Right? That's one of their backup things. They're like, well, I don't get anything out of tech rescue. I can't do anything with it. That's like, I know, not really. But
you can climb mountains and.
Well, you wouldn't have to take the class for that, because I did that without taking a class. I did it the old school way. But and the same with hazmat too. For the most part, it's a easy transition for hazmaters because they're already ops anyway. They're just taking the tech side of it. But the technical rescue side, yeah, you got to start from scratch for the most part, and you do an ops. And so there's an ops test and a tech test. And so when they hear that, most people, and again, it's human nature, right? If I told you you've got to take 7 tests to be on my team, you'll be like, I'm not doing that team, right? No brainer.
Yeah.
Or water rescue, I got to take 1 test. I'll do that one. That one sounds fun. Plus you get to swim.
You get to swim.
Yeah, you get to swim around.
That's the reason why you guys call them the swim team, right?
That's right. We call them the swim team. That's right.
I mess with Dan all the time with that. I'm like, you're on the swim team, right?
Yeah, we give them a hard time.
Give them a hard time. But I love the camaraderie that comes with.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very different than EMS. It's it surprises me how different it actually is when you have strictly just EMS, and then you come over to the fire side and you're like, oh, this is interesting. The difference.
It's different.
It is.
It's different. And I think there is some of that even in special operations too, because what I've always tried to remind everyone is right now, well, I guess Amanda Dreyer isn't, but Andy May and Amanda Dreyer are shift leads and they're not officers. We're one of the few things in special operations that it's not about your rank, it's about your knowledge. Yeah. And that does pair also with the military side. And that's where those military people come in and they see that and they're like, oh, wow, they are similar. I always thought fire was completely different. And I know that some of the white shirts prefer those leadership roles be officers only because it comes with the territory. But I was in charge of a shift for a long time as a private, and I had captains on the team. And what was great about that is they understood it and they didn't give you any grief about it. And so the ribbing, everybody would become a private. And so we remind, because behind every officer, there's a private, right? We were all privates once.
Yeah.
We all remember how to act,
Yep.
even not act. But that's what you're seeing. That's the stuff that you're talking about, I think. And I love it when we get those groups together and that officer kind of blends away. And then we're all kind of on the same ground or the same level doing the same thing. And I think they see that too. Sometimes they see that. I don't know if they see it in the other two teams. I'm to the point now where they only know me as an officer. And so when we do training with people that I worked with as a private and they were privates, they still call me my first name. And I don't, it doesn't bother me at all. The new ones, they only know me as an officer. So they'll say that. And I'm like, kind of hurts. You're like, stop, we're at tech. Calm down.
I am a person.
It's not just a person.
Like we were talking about before we started the podcast, we were talking about famous people. And you're like, just wave at them and walk by. You're a person.
They're just normal people.
They're just normal people.
We think they're normal people anyway, but yes.
Yeah.
So we do that. And again, at training, I've been to plenty of hazmat trainings. I've obviously been a hazmat member too. I've just, what am I at? 23 years on tech rescue. And I think I'm approaching 18 or 17 on hazmat. I don't have to do the math. So I don't have 20 years there yet on that one. But being on two teams for that long and working with so many people, to me, working on those tech teams has only built my confidence in operations. And then vice versa, right? We make runs and there's those team members that you still see on a regular basis. And that helps build, right? And that's kind of what you're talking about there too, that there's that camaraderie, there's that knowledge that I know how they think, I know how they work. And it's been very rewarding. I know I like it. I've enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
I'm hoping to stay as long as I can, but
you're not looking to retire anytime soon.
No, I'm not. And what was funny is Amanda Dreyer just asked me the other day, she goes, what's your contingency? I go, excuse me? She goes, you're not going to be the lead forever. I go, geez, I didn't even think about it. I said, no, I don't plan on it, but I wasn't planning on handing it over just yet. And she's like, well, you probably should have a plan. I'm like, she's right. She's smart.
Yeah.
That's why we got her where she is.
They say the best leaders train your replacement.
Your successor.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what I was being trained. And so I'm like, well, there's a couple people on the wings, but we got to get there, right? Yep. We still got a ways to go.
Yeah, you still got a ways to go. You're not there yet. Plan to pick on you a few more years yet.
Yeah. I'm used to it. The old people are used to it. Like you said, talking about the celebrities, they should be used to it by now. I'm used to it. And I just let it go. It's not a big deal.
Well, it was nice talking to you. And for everyone out there listening, if you're interested, and especially if you work for Fort Wayne Fire and you're interested in this team, remember that you can shadow. And if you're interested in this team and you don't work for Fort Wayne Fire, you can always apply. Or you can see what your local fire station is doing if they have a team that's just like this. It is very unique to be on a special ops team.
It is. And it's funny you said that. Real quick, I have been asked to go out and consult other departments that they're looking to get a rope to do this, low angle or something. I've been sent to the Air Guard for a confined space consultation, which that's the government.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. I think it was more local. It didn't have anything to do with the government asking us. It was just the local leadership wanted some advice. And I've been out to other places too. And so it's strange for me to be asked to consult. You're like, what? What am I consulting about? What do I know? But
like,
then
I don't know nothing.
Right. That's how I feel. And then you go out there and you watch it and you're like, oh, I see why I'm here. Okay. Yeah. And so I never ever say they're doing anything wrong. And this is what I also try to teach during tech rescue. And that is, it's not right or wrong. It's safe or unsafe. Look at it that way. Because you can do things several different ways and be safe. Mm-hmm. But people will look at it and say, that's wrong. You should do it this way. And you're like, no, that's just another way of doing it.
That I teach that too with my students and anyone I'm mentoring. I'm like, there's multiple ways to do one thing. You just got to find your way, and that's okay. And I'm not here to teach you my way. I guess you'll see how I do things. And if you don't like it, well, just change it. It's okay. And
so that's the way I try to use that language then when I teach. If I go, that's not safe. Hold on.
Yeah.
Instead of going, that's wrong. No. It's not necessarily wrong. You're saying it's unsafe is why I'm asking them to change it. So say unsafe. Don't say wrong.
I like that.
And so I
That's a really
changed
good
it. And so
phrasing.
I'll do that. And if someone says it's unsafe, what do? Oh, yes, let's change it.
Yeah.
Use the key word. If you just say it's wrong, they're like, what's wrong about it? No, that's the difference. It's safe or unsafe. If it's perfectly safe, I've let stuff go and people go, you let them do that? And I go, yeah, it's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Safe. They're like, oh, you A shifters, I'm surprised you didn't make them change it. I'm like, no, it's fine.
All right. Well, for everyone out there listening, just remember, leave it better than you found it.